And even if there is one guy in the line who doesn't do it, well, lead by example and just keep doing it anyway.
And Freeman, you know we love you. I hope we get to meet you in Egypt, but I have to ask you this question out of respect for the person in the chat who asked it. Why did you make a good documentary about chemtrails, then put a jet breaking the sound barrier that has a cloud-like form going from front to back? It's not a chemtrail.
I didn't make the chemtrail film.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I got permission from the people. They said basically what I wanted to say. You see, what happened to me is I was just planted into a television show. I had no idea. And every half an hour I crafted took me 2 months of nothing but work. I mean, 12-hour, 14-hour days to make a half an hour of film. I don't know if you guys have ever done this. So each week, as another television show came upon me, I'm like, oh my God, but I had an idea of what I wanted to present to the public immediately. So if you go to like my website and you look at Freeman's TV shows, start from the beginning because that's where I began. And that begins the whole story and unfolds it. So I desperately wanted to make a chemtrail film, but then I found this one by Heaven Can't Wait. And it was exactly what I would have said. I added a thing or two into it, but I didn't make it. And I got their permission to use it because they didn't want to promote it themselves.
All right. Fair enough.
There you go.
Cherie?
This is kind of a negative question, but do the elites see us as a comedy act where they experiment on us by poisoning us as kind of a symbolic staged comedy? Do they get their laughs out of our pains? I don't think so. I think that if they do rituals, they're completely serious about it. I think 9/11 was a serious ritual.
I think their mentality is they put everything out for everybody to see, hidden in plain sight, and they feel that if people are too stupid to look at it, then they deserve what they get.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all an energetic thing. It's not a comedy show. It's done to harvest energy. Most of this sort of stuff that they do, most of the rituals is all energy-based, all of it.
Another question, please ask Freeman about the Owl movie coming out. This has got to be one of the biggest Freemason New World Order. This has got to be to the Freemasons and New World Order people. I don't know if that makes sense.
Guardians of the Gaul?
Yes.
I thought it was very interesting that they had Gaul, just like the
Stargate
serpent entities that inhabit hosts on Stargate.
Let's pick up the answer when we get back from the break. Max, Igan, and Freeman are our amazing guests. TruthFrequencyRadio.com, the website, and we will be right back. We are back with Max, Igan, and Freeman. Just an absolutely amazing conversation. Lots of questions from the chat room, so thanks everybody for joining us and asking these great questions, taking this broadcast wherever it goes. And the last question that was asked was about the Owl movie. So Freeman, do you want to pick it up?
Yeah, very curious. Actually, just in San Francisco on our layover, we were run out of the Bohemian Club. You can see that on the front of my YouTube page. And you see the owl there, of course. And the owl symbolism is always in reference with the goddess. It goes to Minerva, to Athena, to Isis.
Lilith. Lilith?
Lilith, yeah. They called her goddess of the night. So when we're looking at this symbolism, what I find curious, I mean, now I have not seen the Guardians of Gaul yet. I look forward to seeing it because I love just looking into all the programming. I go see them all just to see what's being put out. What I find right now as I'm looking into that spectrum of the world as what they're putting out, I find things such as Disney's latest with Rick Riordan, the Red Pyramid. And then also the more famous Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I'm sure the Red Pyramid will be a movie as well. Now we're talking about the Gaul and the ideas in Stargate where they're hosting gods inside of their body as a parasite or a symbiote, whichever you want to take it. Oh, really a parasite because they're going to move on. But anyway, this concept now, if we look to the Red Pyramid and Disney's latest programming, we find that the concept is to inhabit or host a god inside of you. And so in the book, the children actually take on the god forms of Isis and Osiris, and they find out that they're actually direct lineage of the pharaonic bloodline. Now, the reason I would bring this to your attention is because the people who have influenced the 20th century the most are the type of people that do such a thing. And who I mean is Aleister Crowley. And his whole concept was to transform himself into that golden falcon as Horus to go into these other dimensional realms and bring back the information that he did that made him the most famous or infamous magician, turned magic on its head, and really created the 20th century. So this is what they are now programming into the people, is to host these god forms and to take this on, and where that's going, I'm not certain. But we look deep into what's running this situation, and recently I've come across the understanding of the Nine and the channeling of these extraterrestrial god forms into humans, and that was really part of the scheme and the programming of the elite, which they do in their rituals.
Well, I'm going to kind of take it in a little bit of a different direction because someone brought up something really interesting. Nat Geo just released an article on the Akhenaten family and how their DNA has been tracked, and apparently it goes back to the R1B1 that I think we talked about this last time we had you on. But did you know that Nat Geo and IBM are now teaming up and doing a project called the Genographic Project, where they're tracking people's DNA patterns and encouraging people to send their DNA through the mail, and it's insane.
It really is. They want to get to the root, and people better recognize the Nazi qualities to all of that, because this whole concept, you look into the Mormons, they've got the largest genealogy study gone, as far as I know. And we start to see that we'll recognize the Mormons are extraterrestrial in origin. Battlestar Galactica, if we're going to take it to Hollywood, is the Mormon creation myth. And there again, you're engendering the gods. You've got Athena, you've got all of the gods and goddesses in that very story, and the concept of them coming down. So the idea of genealogy is one that was, very fascinating to Adolf Hitler, and his ideas came through theosophical studies with Madame Blavatsky and the Secret Doctrine, and the Luciferian doctrine that elucidates the idea of a hierarchy of spiritual beings, and therefore ascended masters that you would then serve and worship, such as people as Saint Germain, or she had Kahum. There were a number of ascended masters, and these are then again somewhat channeled into your system by these meditations, by the methods and practices within the magical realms that they're using.
That sounds terrible. Wow.
Yeah, it leads to eugenics, because then you can say one race is superior to another.
Right. And then they're and then at the same time they're encouraging everybody to act out in the way that they feel special, so they're going to get their own genealogy map so they can prove how special they are. And it feeds into the whole ego thing about wanting to be special and unique. So it's just a bad idea all around. So I would encourage people to tell their families not to participate in this. This is something they're even going to third world countries and doing. They're considering it informed consent if they write a little X on the piece of paper saying that, it's okay for them to take their DNA. I mean, it's that bad. And so this has eugenics written all over it, and I can see it right off the bat. But people, around me that are my family members, they don't realize the significance of it. I'm like, IBM! It's IBM! And they're like, oh, so? It's a computer company. I'm like, ah!
Yeah, do you explain that IBM was the one
that created the Hollerith? Yes, they created the Hollerith machine, and they'd go, what's the Hollerith machine? And I'm like, it's the thing that tracked the Jews during the Nazi regime.
Yeah, I tend to use Disney as a microcosm in the macrocosm to show you that you're going into a theme park, a world of magic and wonder where your imagination can come alive. And, of course, everything's crafted and there's nothing there that's very imaginative. But you have to give them your credit card, then you give them your thumbprint, then they take your picture, and then they ask you where you're from. So as a microcosm, we can see now every single ride. And again, the ball that you walk into in Epcot, where they take your picture and ask you where you're from after you gave them your thumbprint. The ball is hosted and sponsored by Siemens. And I challenge you to go look up the Auschwitz in concentration camps and see whose corporate logo is over them. So we have a microcosm to understand that it looks like a theme park, but you are being databased. And I mean, everybody in the world goes to Walt Disney World, and they're just laughing as they have accumulated this vast network of everyone's faces, thumbprints, and credit card banking information. You got to see it as the theme park Nazi military cooperative that it is.
Well, did you notice?
Also the dangers of cloning. They've already admitted they can clone people as well, and now they've got people sending them their DNA.
That's good.
I mean, you know, really, you got to look at what's going on here, people. Don't send these people your DNA. It's the worst thing you could possibly do.
I just got a chill down my spine. I thought of what's that movie where they're in the future and they're
they've
clones,
already announced. They've already had the
clones.
aliens come on. Freeman's talked about this. He's got the information posted on his website. They've already had people come in and say, look, we've cloned the first human. We did it in the Middle East because we're not allowed to do it in the United States. So they are cloning human beings. And now they're asking for DNA. And they've got this massive database of everybody. I'm having a lot of trouble online at the moment. I'm being kicked out of Facebook and all sorts of things for ridiculous reasons.
Yeah.
And they're doing everything they can to try to find out who I am because Max Igan is actually a nom de plume. Max is my middle name. And anybody who goes to the website knows that it's a nom de plume. And there's no pictures of me that exist anywhere on the internet. And yet if you Google my name, you get thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of results. But nobody knows who I am. And we all know Facebook is a CIA data miner.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a database. And they're actually really trying to find out who I am at the moment, I think. I might be being a little narcissistic, but Freeman's been here witnessing all this, and it's pretty remarkable that the security checks and account verifications and things that they're asking me for to try to find out who I am.
Well, I was locked out of Facebook and YouTube for 6 months, something like that.
Yeah.
Finally, the Facebook account got unlocked.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. My sister posts pictures of me as a baby on Facebook, and I'm like, what are you doing? You know, Facebook is just like IBM. It's one of those bad companies that's owned by bad people.
Yeah, you shouldn't post any personal information on Facebook.
No.
You really shouldn't. I use it simply as a means of spreading information to people and spreading my videos and my radio shows to people.
Well, it's almost like they're trying to...
They're happy with me for doing that. I really do think they're trying to find out who I am.
Well, I don't think you're wrong in that assessment at all. I think they want to find out who everybody is, but especially the ones like us who are...
I don't have a mobile phone. I don't have a telephone. I don't have any credit cards. The internet isn't in my name. It's in someone else's name. I use an IP spoofer on my computer. And
He's a ghost.
I'm a ghost. I'm simply a faceless voice on the airwaves. No one has a clue who Max Igan is.
Good for you, really.
Excellent. Let me ask you this. We have a couple people asking this question. We need Freeman prophecies. What's the next big world event?
I've really covered this one. For me, it's still the 4th of July for the Temple Mount. My predictions tend to take years to unfold, so I don't know what year. But what I see coming, and it's very clear, and it's even what we were stating earlier about the mosque, this attack to create incite violence between the Zionists and Muslims. And so this is their game plan. On top of that, incite violence between the Christians and the atheists. And so that's where we are at, and they're playing that game. What we'll see is when I announced that the Vatican would take the Temple Mount on the 4th of July back on Edge Media TV, no, even prior to that, that was when the Pope went to the Temple Mount for the very first time, and he was the very first pontiff to ever visit the Temple Mount. And I thought, my God, I'm right, because this was before 4th of July, but then it didn't happen. And so I keep my things out there and open so that you always know what I think. And I also believe that we have a bit of a Nuremberg trial set up for America. So all of the 9/11 truthers like Ahmadinejad and Putin and I think even Hugo Chavez, all the 9/11 truth and all of that is going to bring the hammer down on America as scheduled, as planned. And so America's going to do something nefarious, something very evil. I would even think something as bad as nuking Iran. and therefore fall into the next schedule